general votes, which is one vote per BP or per organisation or onboarded community member. So if we can make sure we're filling all those out, please. At the bottom of the agenda, we've got 25 people on the call at the moment. So we've only got 18 in the roll call. So can we make sure we get up to that 25, please? If you're on mobile, if you could just shout up and we'll get someone to write it in for you. So welcome everybody to I was going to call the number, but I don't know the number of it, so I need to go back and count them all. But the Telos Launch Group call on this Tuesday, the 4th of December. We have our usual agenda with the standing order of go, no-go call at the end. I shall go down the agenda asking working groups to report. If there's nothing to report, we'll move swiftly on and see where we go from there. So without further ado, it is nearly 5 past, so I think with 30 people on the call, that seems reasonable to move forward. Okay then, so first order of the day is arbitration. There's nothing in that list. I'm guessing that everything's good on arbitration. We have our arbitrators, which we're all very, very pleased about, and I take it they've all been updated on the website, so please go and visit that. The badge system, I think we've got James, if you want to make a little brief statement about the badge system.
James Davis, good block. I just wanted to point out that we're collecting up the keys and finishing up any of the last reviewing and arbitrations. Things are actually going pretty well. We've looked at about every single thing we could look at this point, and hopefully almost done. The last thing I wanted to say was simply to get your keys to me. I sent out a CSV with that information. Send it to me. If you don't have it, we can't make your account for the rewards, so please make sure you do that.
Can I ask if there is a bounty call this afternoon?
There will be a bounty call, but we don't have any specific agenda. I don't think we're trying to resolve anything, but we'll meet just to see if anybody has any questions. We'll probably go over that commissions thing briefly just to check the results of the poll. But yeah, we'll meet for sure.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Community rewards pool, is that you again, James, or is Justin taking that one?
Justin's going to take that today.
Take it away, Justin.
We'll come back to Justin then. If someone can remind me at the end to come back to Justin if he's not on the call. Shout up, Justin, if you're here.
He was. I talked to him about it. He was going to take it today. He must just be having on the roll call.
I'm trying to check all my screens. I can't see him. Okay, we'll come back. We'll come back to Justin on that one then. I've just, all it says in the thing is reviewing submissions, so I presume that's what people are going to be talking about. Okay. DAP outreach, nothing on that one so far. And then we've got development. I've got nothing in the agenda, but Peter or anyone from Good Block.
Just showed up. Sorry about that. Yeah.
That's all right.
So last night, over the weekend, there was a problem with StageNet. We actually just this morning in the 11th hour figured out what it was, and unfortunately, this StageNet cannot be fixed. But we know how to avoid the problem in the future, and that's by making EOS.io the issuer of TLOS and not EOS.io.token, which was just a small itty bitty mistake made by Jesse. Just gonna.
What? Sorry, Jesse.
He's got to be here to defend himself. Where is he?
Oh, he's
not
here.
Okay.
Oh man, Jesse.
Oh no, he dropped off.
That was very brave, Peter. Well done.
He dropped off in shame.
No.
No, he really
He's a
did
pretty
drop
good
off.
guy in most ways. Nobody's perfect.
It's work where so there isn't any realistic way of fixing it. The only way on this current chain, the only way that I found is by using the EOSIO.token close function, which closes an account, and we could do that 160,000 times until we got rid of all the accounts or whatever on the network and then remade all of them. But that sounds ridiculous, so I don't think we're going to do that. So instead, we'll probably just start up a new stage net with the issuer being set correctly, which shouldn't cause the inline transaction and on block to fail, which means that we'll get schedules again.
For anyone who's not aware, who hasn't been watching this, the amount of work done by a lot of people trying to figure this out has been amazing, right? I don't think any of us wanted to come to the day going, oh, we couldn't, we have this big problem. But to see the coordination, for me personally, see the coordination across the globe, literally, people trying things, finding things, fixing things, breaking things, has actually been very inspiring to me. I would much rather have us say that we had this done, but it's really amazing to that this has been found. And I don't think this is a bad thing. I think this is a very, very healthy exercise, but also means that, we haven't run our 24-hour tests, sadly.
No, we haven't. But I mean, like Douglas said, it's good that we found that, because Jesse's launch script is the most verbose launch script we have. And if we didn't find this now, we would have certainly found it later. And it's better that we found it now. I think we're getting closer to a more complete launch script as far as having the appropriate steps figured out. And I think that we'll have a strong StageNet chain very soon.
Okay. Thank you very much, Peter. Again,
adding one item on that, Peter and team. So we also implemented tip 23 as well in the code. So we all should be getting, the BP should be getting paid according to plan.
Which was huge.
Yeah, I did like that. I reviewed it as well, Marlon.
And I asked Marlon this morning if we could accelerate inflation on the next StageNet so that we can actually test it, and he said yes.
Yeah. Can I make one other observation just briefly on this?
please do, Douglas.
Thank you. We are doing this out in the open. It's never been done like this, right? No other chain has done, on Warbly, who knows? It was a totally private procedure. On EOS, it was completely obscured and obfuscated by the ABP. I was the ABP, so I know. It's still funny. But here we're doing this right out in the open. I think this is actually an amazing exercise. And while to people watching, it may seem like, once again, there's a reason we can't launch. The fact is, I'm certain all these same things happen with launching all the other chains. It's just that nobody showed the process out in front. And I actually think this is an amazing step forward just for EOCO altogether. And so to me, this is a success. It's not the flavor of success I would like for today, but I think it has to be mentioned that we are doing in the open, exposing to everybody exactly all our processes, and no one else has ever done that. And as a result, you get, there's a mess, and that's probably why it's not been done this way before. But my hat's off to everybody on the team who's putting this together. So thanks.
Hey guys, this is Jesse. I'm sorry I dropped. I was trying to unmute and managed to hang up the phone. So
you need to get on here and defend yourself.
I was trying to defend myself, and apparently I was muted, and then nobody heard me, and I tried to unmute, and I hung up. So I'm back.
So you had two huge technological problems in one day.
What say
I
you?
really am not good with buttons or keyboards lately, huh? No, I will just say that the document that went out that I started and Mark wonderfully added color to and finish that's out there, describes that we are going to launch the StageNet multiple times until it's successful using automation, at least twice. And that way we know that the third time or the last time is going to be the same as the previous successes. And this is an example of why we're doing that. So we'll launch the StageNet a few more times, and we're really close. So
Hear, hear.
Okay, thanks for that, Jesse. I think I'll echo everyone's views that even though we are finding these problems, and to my opinion, not really problems, we're doing this like Douglas is out in the open, and Douglas is going for a boring launch, and that's what we're aiming for. That it's all out there in front, and the amazing work you guys are doing. I tip my hat off to you. And these calls are live streamed. Everybody who is interested, who can find out what we're doing. Everything's out there in our community, and I'm sure that on Telegram that we'll be able to say why these things are happening. We're not hiding behind anything. We're saying what's happening, why it's happening, and I'm sure people get confidence from the immense skill that you guys are bringing to the process. So more power to you and more power to Telos. So I'm going to move on, if that's okay. Unless anyone else has got anything to say on that, I'm sure we can cover a few of these things when we go to the standing item. Okay then, so I think I've got down to exchange outreach. Roger, do you want to take this to start with, please?
Yes, I'm back after having some internet issues there for a minute. Very exciting day today because we get to announce our 5th exchange. But I'm not going to steal his thunder. I'm going to pass over to Rob at EOS Detroit, who's going to reveal who exchange number 5 is going to be.
Yeah, thank you, Roger. So we have Whale Exchange coming on board. They're the largest EOS DEX. They're very popular in China. They've got 15,000 KYC users. They will be partnering with Telos on multiple levels. They are going to syndicate our news on their flash news service. And they are also going to give us speaking slots in their EOS World Tour event series. And beyond that, they are driving towards multi-chain support. It's a little bit more complicated as a DEX, but their roadmap states that'll be available in Q1 2019. And their intention is to list Telos and other EOSIO chains. They're going to be a little bit delayed, a few months, but EOS Detroit will be the technical point of contact to help them through that. And we'll continue to foster the relationship and make sure that the Telos Foundation, whomever they may be, are also connected with Whale Exchange. So Whale Exchange is really excited to partner with us, and they're really looking to take the multi-chain approach. And it's really exciting. So this will be huge for Telos. We need more exposure in Asia, and they are going to help us on both the marketing front and the liquidity front down the road. So thanks everyone for the support and exchange outreach, helping me figure out the right process to bring it in. And looking forward to seeing.
Brilliant. Thanks very much for that, Rob. So Whale X is the 5th exchange coming on. So fantastic. So I just wanted to also clarify that set expectations for viewers as well about when trade. It may take these exchanges a couple of weeks to get things set up after we do vote go. So just to sort of bear that in mind. And also we're seeing customers as well, or token holders who are asking the same question about when they had EOS tokens on the exchange. Get in touch with your exchange to petition them to list Telos if you want to try and get hold of those tokens. And I think I'm right in saying they've got a year, haven't they, to get those tokens, the exchanges. Douglas, you clarify that?
Well, that was proposed. There is actually no current. Limit set on when exchanges can do that. in the future, in our governance, that could be added. People, the token holders could decide to set an end, but we have not, on the belief that these are the property of the customers, not the exchanges, and they are at the whim of the exchanges. However, that may change. The 1 year, by the way, though means anyone who has control of their own Genesis account must opt in within 1 year, because we all have to. And that is in the Constitution. You have 1 year. All you have to do is vote once, stake, unstake, transfer a token out of your, to another account. Any one action opts you in, and then they'll never be taken away. But if people don't want their Telos, then there's no point assigning them system resources.
Yeah. All right, great. Well, back to you, Jim. So lots happening on the exchange front. So keep watching this space.
Okay, thanks for that, Roger. Got some real good news to put out to the community, and I think the fact that we've got we're going to get some more sort of, exposure in the Asian market, I think is really, really powerful for us. So I think that's superb. But Rob, thank you very much as ever with your amazing work. So I'm just going to nip back now to community rewards. I believe that Justin is on the call. Do you want to mention anything about community rewards, Justin?
Yes, thank you. It's just a quick update. We are getting submissions flying in from community rewards members, and the mantra has been that we will continue to accept them up to a week after the go vote. So people still have time to post and submit their posts to us. That's it.
Okay, thanks for that, Justin. I'm sure we're putting that out on the social medias as well, so people have got up to a week from the no-go vote. So that's excellent. Thanks for that. I'll skip back down to external comms. Is this Beth or Roger? Which one are we going for today? It's all quiet.
I think Beth might be around, but maybe not. But there was just one thing there, which there was a bit of a mistake put out by the tribe chap this morning, talking about 7th of September snapshot. Seems to have confused everybody. That was Warbly, nothing to do with Telos. So that's not correct. We've seen a few questions come up about that. So just perhaps worth mentioning.
Okay, thank you. And I'll just also mention that the Telos World Conference has been announced, the date of the 14th of December. And there's plenty of work going on in Slack with that. 21 Zephyr are, with Good Block, are bringing that together. Please, if you've put your name down to be a speaker, or if you have got any involvement in that, can we please keep an eye on the Slack channels? I know that we've been asked to contribute for their website. I've sent my bits and bobs in, pictures, etc., etc. I don't know if you want to add anything to that, Douglas, or is that quite covered it off?
No, that's pretty much it. It will be streamed by wonderstream.net, and there's going to be a rehearsal that for people to take part in, just to make sure that we can interface well and you guys know what to do. So we'll be contacting you and handling all that in Slack. Thank you. Okay, so
our dev team are working really hard, and people are bringing on all these new amazing things, and we do have this conference to think about as well. So there's loads going on, guys. So let's just try and keep abreast of everything. I know it's difficult, but there are lots of promotions going on. Governance, Adam or Douglas, is there anything you want to comment on governance?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention, I did want to mention that we have received or are receiving back all of our legal our highly qualified legal translations of the governance documents. And that presents, now that we have them, we have to decide exactly how we're going to present them to users. Are we going to link? Are we going to have it just in English and then link somewhere else? Or are we going to have all three languages, one after the other? Or are we going to interleave them by clause? I know this is very boring, but we have to actually figure out how to present them. So I'd like us to have a discussion would like everybody to be aware that we need to have a discussion about this in Slack and move pretty quickly, because we're going to have to link these things up. So if we could do that over the next 24 hours, I'd really appreciate it. I'll post something in Slack. So please watch for that. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Douglas. Again, let's keep an eye out. GRC, the guys in there, there's a comment. I don't know which one of you guys want to take it. Anybody?
If you want, Jim, it's Mark from Telos Vancouver.
Thanks, Mark.
We recently posted a compliance, BP compliance overview doc to the front page of the monitor. So basically, when people visit the monitor, they land on this compliance overview doc that is a brief overview of Telos compliance requirements for block producers and links to the various resources so that they can learn more.
Okay, thanks for that, Mark. Really important there that we're getting all our compliance in for the BP. So thanks for all your work. I know there's been a lot going on around that in Slack, so it looks like we've got that together. Appreciate it. Okay, so maybe my favourite slot of the day. It's network maintenance. It's the J's. Anyone want to have a go?
I feel so honored to be your favorite slot every week.
No.
We're spending all of our time in StageNets. I wrote some wins in this last stage, the broken stage. I didn't even know it was broken in some ways. We were still able to test several things that we had not ever done before, which included retiring the EOSIO account and implementing the proper BP multisig for vote VP out action, and as well as working the RAM cell for the RAM launch account. And I think also Jan and Aaron worked on RAM buy and sell with the RAM admin account. And all of that worked correctly after we figured out that B1 made a table name change in the latest version of EOSIO. We also found out, and we need to bring this to the wider group for everyone to know, but we found out that we need more RAM in the RAM accounts and the BP accounts. We definitely will need to add more RAM, the RAM accounts at Genesis. I would like for the BP accounts to have more RAM. We're finding that 4K is not enough to make proposals, multi-sig proposals. And if there's anything that we're going to have to do to fix the network within the first 10 days before we can unstake, then we're going to need more RAM to do it. We've been able to pool our liquid on the stage nets just to get somebody enough RAM to get proposals in, but I don't really feel like that's the best path forward. So whether or not we give the initial BPs or maybe just the ABPs more liquid or more RAM in order to be able to do those things, I don't know how we want to handle it, but those are the options.
Are we talking about so there are at least two groups of BPs, right? There are the BPs who are actually Telos BPs, and then there's others that we've reserved for EOS. It's like 153 that we reserved for EOS BPs who may not be on. Is this some? And I believe but the Telos BPs are in the roughly 50 range, right?
Correct.
So could we address this by figuring out a slightly larger amount of RAM to resources to give to the actual active Telos BPs, and ask any of the, I know that there's several people coming on now, like EOS Dublin or whatnot, who are kind of relying on the EOS BP list. But we could ask them in this, if we do this to get onto the Telos list if they're already on our test net.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that it's fair.
We only have to give it to that smaller set.
Jerry from Blind Block Art. I would like to increase the initial block producer list to 8K of RAM instead of 4.
In some cases, 8K may not be even enough.
This is Jesse. Let me just put some color around this. If we need to fix, so in order to make a proposal, you have to store the whole transaction in the proposal. And if that proposal is to fix a contract, you have to store the entire contract in the proposal. So with the exercises we've done over the past few days on StageNet, trying to fix the problem that we now know the cause of, we had to push the system contract and the system contract's ABI, and that's like 500K, if not more, of RAM to make that proposal. Mm-hmm. So we need to, granted, maybe 4K is not enough for all BPs, but we need one BP account who's able to make a proposal to fix a contract in case of emergency. And that BP account should have well over 500K. We only need one of them, and we could figure out a way they could pay it back or something. I don't know, but we just need some account that can make that proposal.
Will BPs who have Genesis accounts be able to transfer from their Genesis accounts?
You'd have to unstake. That's what it's. JT and I were able to take a number of Genesis account and BP account that between us, and I think we had some other people help, but we had 10 liquid, and we had to each use that 10 liquid to buy a little bit of RAM for one account in order to get up above the 500K we needed.
And that was when RAM was cheap.
Staked. Yeah, and we should not do any of this before we execute the RAM admin process, because that's been tried and true, and we don't want to manipulate or affect manipulate's the wrong word. We don't want to affect the numbers that we've come up with already. So it's going to be more expensive RAM that we get.
Yeah. It's a decentralized network, so we can't just give anything to just one. We could consider giving it to the 6 ABPs, since it's going to be short-lived.
Guys, this is Joseph from EOS Barcelona. Why don't we create an account for that? So no BP has all the RAM, and then we create a multi-sig with in a way that any one of the 6 ABPs can work with that account and use it to deploy the contracts.
Yeah, I think it needs approval for more than just one. But
the emergency
only BP accounts. I'm fairly sure only BP accounts can make proposals for EOSIO prods. Okay. So it has to be a BP account that creates the proposal.
Okay.
How many do we need to have it?
Sorry, Jesse. Can I just come over you guys a moment? Is this something that we can sort out in Slack? Because it looks like you guys are coming to a conclusion of some description, and I think you'll get the wholehearted support of the group. I think it's something that we can trust you guys to sort. Would that be a fair assumption?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
It's just we're talking about people's funds, or we're talking about the network's funds. So I just wanted to bring it to the wider audience so that everybody was aware of what we were probably going to need to do and not do it behind the scenes.
Yeah, I totally appreciate that, JT, and thank you for that. And I think now we're aware of the situation, it won't be a surprise to anybody. So whatever you guys come up with, I think we'll be very happy with. So yeah, thanks for that. Anything else on network? Sounds like we're getting.
No, I would add one. I would add one more win to what we accomplished this weekend, and that is everybody who was involved in the StageNet was after the first multi-sig we needed help with. Everybody was very responsive and reacted quickly and executed the multi-sig proposals very quickly. So that was something we needed to get practice on, and I think everybody's getting familiar with it. So that's good, because that's something we needed to check.
That is a win that needs highlighting. I mean, I was a spectator, I hasten to add, on the network call, and that was a big deal. So if you guys are sorting that out, then that's a really big win. So again, lots going on behind the scenes, and that's really, really impressive.
And we have added an alert channel for emergency conversations.
Okay, Jerry, thanks for that. And I take it everyone who needs to be aware of that alert channel is aware. If not, can you make sure you get in touch with Jerry to find out what you should be aware of? Okay, I'm going to move on. Nothing to report on marketing and social media. We've got Telos Foundation. Douglas, do you just want to mention something about that at the moment, please?
I don't know that there's much to mention. I will say that Craig was working very hard yesterday on the Telos Foundation voting token contract, using some of our very little bit of downtime for that, and that's coming along well. We should have that should be able to go green, as soon as testing occurs. As for the actual elections, I think everybody who's running is aware and prepared, and if not, I think Beth is the ideal point of contact for that.
Yeah, Beth has written in the foundation slot that there's the board elections will begin shortly after launch, and we have the Telos Foundation /foundation website, which everyone's aware of, and that's absolutely fine. We've decided not to do sort of formal hustings, as I will call them over here. Everyone knows everybody, and I think there's going to be a chance that for anybody who's not on these calls to make a plea. But I think we need to concentrate on the launch. Could I ask Douglas, just ask on the launch schedule, the actual voting of the election? Do you have a rough idea of the day number that it will be?
That is a good question. It can begin anytime after. It can begin anytime after the
unfree.
Yeah, right. So probably there's probably going to be a RAM requirement for that as well. So we may have to be liquid for that. I'm hoping not. We will look at that when we test it. Hopefully on the next stage yet.
Jesse?
Yeah, I was just going to say that we've got some things kind of queued up for the foundation that we're hoping can happen very quickly after we formally elect the board. And in light of that, I was going to suggest we make a practice vote and a StageNet kind of priority on one of the next StageNet. If we could do a practice vote, as well as, like Douglas was saying, make sure we know what the RAM requirements are and what might affect the timing of that vote after launch. So just let's do a test vote. Let's learn everything involved in it, and then hopefully by the time we do actually activate when we launch, we know exactly what to expect, and everybody's already done it once, so that we can get the foundation voted pretty quickly. That would be.
I think that would be ideal. However, there's a since we're prioritizing everything for launch. Understand that once we do a go vote, and there's a document coming out about this today, I think. Once we actually do a go vote, or it actually came out yesterday. Once we do a go vote, there is a process of closing slicing pie and and making sure that everyone's things are all set up. There's a little bit of internal business that we have to do. Can only happen after the go vote. During that time, we can work on things like the Telos Foundation voting token contract if we need to. And so there are certain parts of it that we may not have fully tested before we vote to launch. And personally, I think that's totally appropriate in that one case, because I think that can be happening during that 3 days. But that could be a StageNet that we test on. I think we should definitely test it. But I want to talk about the sequencing there.
Okay, thanks, Douglas. I just think everyone needs to be aware that Beth has just mentioned that to about 72 hours after the distribution of the voting token. So all I'm trying to do is just flag up to everybody that if you are on that list and you are a token holder, you'll be expected to vote very quickly during this phase where we're all running around getting this thing launched as well. So it is another feature that we need to do, because the foundation is going to take over a lot of the roles once we've moved to launch. So it's going to be a really important thing that happens. So let's just keep aware of that. Thank you very much. Can we move on to translations? Does anybody want to take over on translations, please? I've got a note that we've got Chinese translations expected by the 11th of December. Anyone to comment on that? Is that all okay?
That's not great.
Sorry, yes.
We need to push back on that, guys. Fieldy, let's talk about it in the channel.
Okay, that's fine. We'll do that. So, round group. Jan, do you want to add anything at the moment, please?
Yes, just quickly. Jan here. So as JT mentioned, we've successfully tested the first buy and sell on the RAM account. So I was very happy that we could do that to also verify that my calculations were correct, and luckily they are. We still need to test the multi-sigs on the RAM accounts, so that will also happen in the next few days as soon as the StageNet is up and running again. By the way, maybe it's an idea to actually use the RAM in one of those accounts to for the purpose of this 500 kilobyte account that we just talked about. Just a thought.
Okay, thanks a lot for that, Jan. Would it be possible for someone to share their screen with the launch checklist, please?
Yeah, I got it.
Thank you, JT. As we can see from the launch checklist, or my daily check first thing in the morning, we've still got some yellows. So again, I'm going to propose that there are too many yellows on there for us to actually go for a vote. However, I think the discussion here, or the time that we can spend the discussion here, is possibly around when the next vote will be, and if we could get a feeling from the group when it would be the next time where it would be valuable for us to meet again. I don't want to say tomorrow because we just waste our time. However, if someone could just maybe talk to each one of the points about how long we may need for those to be ratified and tested and pushed to green.
This is Douglas from Good Block. I would like to just float for discussion, not a proposal, but just see what people think about the idea of reconvening on Thursday, 2 days from now.
Have we got anyone? Yeah, Jesse?
I support that. I think 1 or 2 day cycles at the longest is where we're at.
Okay, that's a strong voice for Thursday. Could I get anyone from the development team to Peter? Would that be something that you could support?
Yeah, I think we could go on 2 day cycles. Now that we've fixed the StageNet, we should be able to start up another StageNet where we can test more of the things that this last StageNet was aimed at testing. And I think that with any kind of success, I think we'll be ready to at least convene 2 days from now.
Okay then. So what I'm hearing is, and I'm seeing in the chat. So thank you for the rest of you supporting that. I'm going to suggest that we reconvene again at 1700 UTC on Thursday, and hopefully we've got more greens, more of those yellows have gone to green, and if we have got some yellows, that we can actually then discuss whether those yellows can be incorporated in the actual time to move to the launch. So I think that's going to be the way forward from now on. We'll be going on 2 day cycles, and I think people need to be aware that even though we said we're going to go on everything's green before we go, I do think there is a little bit of wiggle room to think about whether we can do some testing during the time when we've got the internal stuff that we're doing. So I think we've got a bit of wiggle room at the same time. So without further ado, unless anybody else wants to make a comment, I shall close the meeting. Got a thumbs up from Joseph. Okay, guys, I'll see you here on Thursday.
Brilliant.
Thanks, everybody.
Everyone.
Bye. Cheers, guys. Bye now.
See you
on Thursday.
Bye.